You know, what pisses me off about watching sports is the press conferences after the game. Do we have to interview them when they lose? Everybody wants to find out, why did you lose? Why did you lose? Well, shit, the other team scored more. But like, that's how it works.
School was fun, man. I tried to play sports. You know, every guy want to play sports. I ended up not playing it. I wasn't that good. Tried to play football. I wasn't that good. I broke both of my wrists in practice and shit. The ambulance came to get me. They were like, God, how you do that shit? I said, man, just take me to the doctor. Goddamn. I don't know how I did it. Damn. Take me to the hospital. Stop asking all these damn questions. Shit. I used to play, man, because I wanted that jersey for pep rally. I wanted that jersey because I wanted to run out there. That's how you get the girls. I used to run out there in the pep rally, just run out there. Jersey clean, ain't played one game. Coach never let me in a game. I'm up there, I be in the bench talking about the team because we losing. He's sorry as hell. When we win, they put me in the game, shoot. One time somebody got hurt, coach put me in the game. I was like, what the hell? He said, Tucker, get up here. What the hell you want? Want you to go in the game wide receiver, somebody got hurt. Oh, shit. I ain't know none of the plays. So, game almost over. Get in the game. What? I got out there, I said, okay, shit, I'll go out here. Quarterback said he's running in the huddle. He said we're gonna run the ball. So they're gonna run the ball. I said he ain't gonna throw to me, so I'm gonna have some fun. And I was good because I played with my older brothers and sisters. I could fake somebody out in a minute. I was good. I used to play street ball. I think, whoa. So I said, I'm gonna fake him out. I'm gonna get out there. So he hiked the ball and I faked it. The guy, he fell down. I was like, whew. I was out there. I said, oh, shit. I saw my mama in the stands. I said, hey, mama. I'm going pro. I'll buy you a house, mama. I knew I was cool. He was gonna run the ball. All of a sudden, quarterback threw the ball at me. I was like, what the fuck are you throwing at me for? Oh, shit, that ain't the play? Goddamn, man. He knew I didn't go to practice last week. I was hoping something happened, like a bird would hit the ball or something. It would rain or something. Ball came, I dropped it. I was like, shh. My whole family was up cheering. They was like, ah. I dropped the ball. They was like, oh, that ain't my brother. That ain't our brother. Our brother number 10. We don't know who that was. We didn't. Come on, mama, let's go. Let's go. Come on, he gave up on us. We gonna give up on him. Shit. Embarrassed to tuck us like that. Let's get out of here.
I'm very philosophical, you guys. I feel like life is about timing, you know? Timing. When to pull out. When to stop wiping. When do you ask a professional athlete for his autograph after a home playoff loss? And I think the answer is never. Thankfully, one of my friends doesn't think this way. It is my favorite thing that's happened in my adult life, okay? One of my buddies, he lives in Cincinnati. He is a big Cincinnati Bengals fan, okay? Now, yeah, I know, they're tough. So, he goes to their game, they lose, which isn't weird, and then he decides he's gonna wait in the tunnel and ask players for autographs. Now, if you're like me, you might be wondering, wait, are you friends with like an 8-year-old boy or something? No, it's a grown man. So picture me in the tunnel of the stadium like, hi guys, keep your head up. Can I have an autograph? And he said they were all like, no. And some of them were like, fuck you. Imagine your heroes being like, fuck you. Oh my God. And then Adam Pac-Man Jones walked out of the locker room. Now, if you don't follow football and you're like, I don't know who that is, well, how can I best describe him? One time he went to a strip club and a bunch of people got shot. And then that happened 2 more times. What's up? I'll give you a sense of his vibe as bang, bang, ba-bang, bang, bang, ba-bang, bang, 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 bang. He is not approachable. So, my honky-ass friend the biggest honky in America goes, Pac-Man! Will you sign this football? And he said, Pac-Man went, what? Which to me would have been like, oh, so you don't? All right, cool. My friend just decides to make it more clear. He's like, it's a football, and you play it. I just watched you. Will you sign this? And he said, Pat goes, the fuck did you say to me? Which now I'm like, why are you still there? And he's like, I think because I'm actually shitting myself as it happens. But now he knows he's got one shot. Pac walks right up to him like, what'd you say? And my friend, he just goes, look, man, it's a football. It's for my dad, and my dad loves you. And he said, Pac-Man looked at him and he said, tell that motherfucker I appreciate him. That's the end of the story, but.
I'm a huge Vanderbilt fan, and I think a couple of us, it's a storm is coming together. I did not go to Vanderbilt too. Vanderbilt asked me to say that, and I was like, I think people know, and they go, we do too, but just say it also. Vanderbilt went to their first bowl game in football in like 20 years, in 2008. And so we all go to it, we're very excited. It's at Tennessee Titans Stadium. So me and a bunch of buddies get together. We go tailgate, we get cornhole, a grill, like we're going all out. And my ticket was at will call. So I was like, look, I gotta go get my ticket, I'll be right back. So I go get my ticket, and before the lady gives it to me, she ripped it, which means you have to go in. And it was, a full 3 hours before the game starts. I was like, I don't want to go in yet, And she's like, you have to go. And I just walked in to just an empty stadium, 60,000 empty seats. I go to my seat. I don't even just go to I went to like the one I'm supposed to go to, like a loser. The players are like in jeans. They're not even dressed yet. I was like, I'm real excited for the game. I startled them. They're like, oh, I didn't even know anybody was in here. Did you go to Vandy? I was like, you would think with how early I'm here. But I also think if I went to Vandy, I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in. I walked to the top of the stadium and just watched my friends tailgate. I just sat up at the very top. And I was like, I'm already in, guys. Yeah, I decided to save our numbered seats. Nothing was open. I stood in front of a concession stand like I was waiting for an iPhone to come out. Just that gate was down. I'm just already trying to figure out what I'm gonna eat. And they came and opened it, and one side got stuck, and I helped them. I go, I'll get that. So I helped them open it. They're like, oh, do you work here? I was like, I've been here a little bit longer than you have. So.
And I'm a first-generation American, it's hard to be first-generation because you have to learn how to be American and teach your parents how to be American too. Like for me in Texas, I'm a big sports fan. I love sports. I'm from Texas, I love football. Now, here's the thing though, people don't understand, when you're a sports fan, when you have a team, that's your team. Those are your boys. Whether they suck or they're good, those are your boys, People are passionate about sports. I'm from Texas, I like football, dude. I love the Cowboys, right? Yeah. Not everyone claps. See, 5 minutes ago, you all loved me, pero now... I get it. You know how hard it is to be a fan of a team that sucks? It's like you're dating that guy that can't get his shit together. Every season they make promises they can't keep. Nah, baby, come back this year. I promise you a ring. Oh, okay. It never works. And my friends tell me all the time, they say the same thing. Switch teams, you gotta switch teams. That's my team. I can't do that, that's my team. It's like having a kid that's flunking math and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna cheer for the neighbor's kid, he's smart. You can't do that. You can't.